the final season part 2, I was kind of bored.
And Attack on Titan just fumbled the bag at the end, in my opinion, to the point where, like, I can't take this shit seriously anymore. These naming conventions are garbage.
This is not a take I'm hearing right now. Hello and welcome to another episode of Trash Taste. I'm your host for today, Garnt, and joining me once again are the boys. And what can I say? The biggest piece of anime, like the biggest event in anime has just dropped, guys.
The biggest piece of anime.
The biggest piece of anime.
It's definitely the anime of all time.
Definitely in the history of anime. Bigger than Dragon Ball. Bigger than One Piece. Bigger than the Bible too.
Do you want to reiterate for people who perhaps don't know what the thumbnail is, in case they've been living under a rock?
Yeah, so Attack on Titan just finished airing this week. So we thought we'd do a topical episode because we've all seen Attack on Titan, right? Right, surely.
I finished it.
I finished it.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I finished it.
Oh, okay.
Why are you looking at him?
Yeah,
You're like,
why?
Shit, I thought you were on my side.
No, I watched it.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Why?
Okay.
You had one job, Joey.
We gotta start off with this take.
You have one job.
I just don't care about Attack on Titan anymore.
Okay.
That's just like, okay, it might be because, like...
How far did you get?
I got up to the, the naming convention. The final season part 1?
Okay.
Wait, is that the correct term? I don't even know what the fuck
Yeah,
the title of it
Doesn't
is.
the final season have 3 parts?
The final season is 3
And then
parts.
in the third part, there's 2 parts.
Oh, yeah, okay. So that means I got up to part 2. I haven't watched the third season, part 1 or 2.
Just the 2 hour long.
The 2 hour long ones. Yeah, I got up to there.
So you basically just got everything up to the ending bit.
Yeah.
So you've only got like 2.5 hours of Attack on Titan left to go, and you
Yeah.
don't have any interest in finishing it?
I'll get to it eventually, I guess, but I'm not in a rush.
All right. So I'm going to say, like, normally we have like a spoiler warning or something, but normally we try to avoid spoilers, but I'm pretty sure we can't discuss all of this without spoiling.
Are we discussing it? I haven't even seen it.
Yeah, if we do spoilers, people are going to skip right in the start of the episode. So we'll save a little bit of the spoilers for later.
Yeah.
Oh, he's thinking of the metagame.
Yeah, because if YouTube's gonna hate this episode if we do that.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll give you guys a warning when we get to that.
actually get to the ending.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I feel like I watched it. I did watch the ending just out of like commitment. I'm like, well, I'm this far in. I should just finish.
Well,
it.
I mean, what? It was a 10-year run, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I've
it's
been
been
watching
10
it
years.
since it came out. So
Yeah.
Damn,
2013.
2013.
it really was it really is like an end of an era, because I think Attack on Titan really kind of grew up with the medium. It was kind of like that first big push of like, oh, anime is like gone from this little niche thing to something that can kind of like meet mainstream culture.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, it kind of, to me, Attack on Titan signified that show from anime growing from something that was a bit more niche to something that now is even like arguably mainstream.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Yeah, I think it's very mainstream, and even people who don't like anime are like, oh, I know Attack on Titan.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember because I think I got into anime in like 2012, 2011.
Yeah.
And then Attack on Titan was the one that was really big.
Yeah.
And before that, I actually didn't watch subs. I was like, no, I'm a dub only guy. I don't want to read shit. But Attack on Titan didn't have a dub for a very long time, and I was like, well, shit, I gotta watch.
And
the
then
show.
when the dub came out, it was an amazing dub.
I think the dub is actually pretty good. I think the dub is
The dub, I've watched both the sub and the dub. And the dub was actually, for the most part, pretty damn good.
I mean, when I think of the dub, I think of the Armin scream.
yeah. Well, that was kind of iconic.
Which was iconic.
I don't remember this one.
You don't remember
It
it?
was like
No.
a big meme.
It was a huge meme of the dub Armin scream of like, I think it was like episode 2 or 3 of season 1. Right. When like the first big, like, I guess,
I remember this,
twist happens.
Right.
With Eren. And Armin does this scream, and in the Japanese one, it's very powerful. And then the dub came out, and it got memed to absolute
Right,
shit.
pull it up.
Pull it up.
Okay, I gotta hear this.
I'm surprised you haven't seen this.
Just Armin scream dub.
Just Armin screen dub.
Armin scream dub.
I mean, like, while we're pulling this up, I mean, I've watched all of the dub except for the final season of the dub.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, you watched a lot of it.
I've rewatched Attack on Titan quite a few times.
Well, it's is it Matthew Mercer who plays Levi?
I can't remember.
I mean, it makes sense.
I
Yeah.
feel like it is. I feel like I'm
It
crazy.
works if it's not him.
Right, go to the end. Go to the end. Just the scream.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right there.
Sorry. Okay.
So it's this part. That scream was the meme.
Okay.
It sounds like R2D2.
It's very Crash Bandicoot. A little bit of nature.
I don't think it was necessarily bad. It was just like,
It's very funny out of context.
yeah.
I'm also biased. I think because J. Michael Tatum is he's Irwin. I think he crushes it now.
No, I think Irwin. I
he
think
crushed it in everything.
I think Irwin was actually my favorite performance from the dub. Irwin completely. I didn't know it was J. Michael Tatum.
Yeah,
It makes a
right.
lot of sense. I think my biggest problem with the dub, where I would recommend the sub over the dub, was unfortunately Bryce Papenbrook's portrayal of Eren. Because I think he does really good in season 1, but there are some kind of like moments.
Matures a lot as the series goes on.
Yeah. There were some moments where I think he's like a really talented voice actor, but I think he got casted at a time where he was getting casted as
He's
every.
He was Kirito as
Yeah,
well.
he was Kirito as like every
okay.
edgy kind of like protagonist.
Yeah, he did get a lot.
And so I think, he does really, really good in other roles. And there was like a certain few moments where I just didn't think he hit the same like emotional beats as other people could have done if they had been casted as Eren. I think the scene that really sold it for me was Eren's breakdown in the end of season 2, where I remember watching it and I was just like, ooh, this is not hitting that same emotional beat that the original voice actor did. Who's the original voice actor again? Kajiyuki did. I mean, Kajiyuki's goated anyway.
Kajiyuki's a god, though.
Kajiyuki's a god.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was something that I didn't think matched up to the original, and it was also a bit weird seeing. I saw a little bit of the beginning of season 4, or like the final season, and he still had a very similar voice, and I heard he's improved that for like later parts of the final season, but it just felt very off. Because so I would actually genuinely, I've watched both, and I would genuinely recommend the sub over the dub. This isn't like a
Not
stain
to say
against
the
the
dub
dub
is bad,
Not
though.
to say
Yeah.
the dub was bad.
Sure.
Yeah, but then if for some reason you ever say like, oh, I prefer the dub, and people should be like, you can't appreciate the Japanese. It's like
You're not weeb enough.
What are you talking about? Like, hey, I'm fluent in this language, and I think it sounds good in this language sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
happy to admit when it sounds.
It's personal
good,
preference
you know?
at the end of the day. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Irwin. I didn't know it was J. Michael Tatum, but I actually preferred just slightly, because both are like such goated performances. But holy shit, hearing his speech in English, I was like, God, this hit different, man. I'm ready to go to war right now.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I'm biased.
Yeah.
Michael's such a great actor in general, so it's. I mean, I just like being around him because he's always the way he talks about acting is like, man, I wish my brain just worked like this about acting. Like, there's just such a passion for it.
Well,
that-
he's our boy, you know. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to be biased towards our boys.
Yeah.
He's very
Sure.
cool. Anyway, I remember the dub didn't come out for ages, so I got into the sub because I wanted to watch it, and everyone was talking about it, and it was. The fandom back then was so interesting for Attack on Titan.
Is it not interesting now?
But it is, but it was just so like, it was so bizarre how it was at a time where I felt that back then in the English fandom, I feel like manga readers were like a huge minority.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh, for sure.
no one read manga much, and when you were to interact with people, they'd only ever, it was just a given that you were like, oh, you watched only the anime.
Yeah.
I seldom met people who had read the manga. So
Yeah,
I
it was
remember
a very, very small vocal
Yeah.
minority,
Yeah.
I think. Whereas, like, it is still, I think, it is today, but I think that amount has just increased a lot more because of people just constantly being like, the manga's better, the manga's
I was in
better.
a bunch of like fan stuff when I was way younger about like of people, I guess, doing their own audio productions of their own made up stories in the universe, and I was like, okay,
Right.
yeah, sure, I'll do this. I'll do it. Fuck it. So I did stuff like that, but Attack on Titan. Otherwise, I said this earlier, and this is why you wanted to talk about it because you got annoyed by my comments. I felt like, although I wanted to finish this journey because I felt like it kind of been my entire adult life was Attack on Titan. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I should watch it. The final season part 2, I was kind of bored.
I can't believe I can't. I like genuinely. Genuinely.
Can we all agree that the nomenclature? I've been wanting to use that word for so long. Of the nomenclature of the Attack on Titan series.
What does that mean?
Oh well, God! Wow,
go on, intellectual.
Well,
go on,
it
please
means
explain it.
the groups, the naming, like how you name a certain group of things, and
Nomen as in name.
Yeah,
okay.
And the way they've named the series, fucking awful. Absolutely the worst naming job in history of shows.
I think that was my problem with especially the final season is that the naming convention is just so confusing.
I actually think it's taken away from the series.
Yeah, I think it has as well, to be honest. And I think that's why I just kind of lost interest because I'm like, they're not fucking taking this seriously.
This is not a take I'm hearing right now. This is not a...
Okay, this is no bearing on the show. Can I just say this in general? It is absolutely fucking confusing to try and keep track on certain places to watch this where you're like, wait, which fucking one am I on again? Why do they all have different
You know it's
cover
bad
art?
when like my Photoshop files are named better, you know? Like it's
the Xbox Series One X looks like a better naming system as opposed to this shit.
This is my message to Fate fans that say I overcomplicate this shit. If these guys can't follow along with the naming conventions in Attack on Titan,
this is the exact,
this
is the exact same reason.
Yeah, it
this
is
the
dumb.
exact
It is
same
dumb.
reason why a lot of people struggle to get into Fate as well, because they look at a title and they go, I don't know where this is canonically speaking, so I'm not even going to bother starting to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
Attack on Titan just fumbled the bag at the end, in my opinion, to the point where like I can't take this shit seriously anymore. These naming conventions are garbage.
That has no fucking bearing on the show.
No, it has no bearing on the show. But personally, I was like,
that shit is annoying as fuck.
It's annoying as fuck.
It is nothing to do with like the
This
actual
is like
show.
the bit. I thought you were coming out with the big guns.
Okay, I will, but we have to recognize that they fucked up with naming this show for some goddamn reason.
You can be the biggest Attack on Titan fan, and every Attack on Titan fan will agree the naming convention is ass.
Okay, it's not
horrendous.
It's not optimized, but let's talk to like Kingdom Hearts fans for like a second here and just
another reason why people don't take that shit seriously, because they look at these naming conventions and same with fucking Monogatari. Any series that has the most like non-secular and sequential naming system, people from the outside look at it and go, what the fuck is this? How am I supposed to get into this?
I will say, seeing that naming system slowly being revealed and rolled out, it did make me kind of like lose confidence a bit in the production. So I'm like, how are you guys fumbling this so badly? Like, there is no goddamn reason why there should be final season part 1, part 2, part 3. That is insane. What actually happened for this fuck? Because there has to be a fuck
Look up the word final in the dictionary.
There has to have been a fuck up in a way that makes me that made me nervous initially when it was coming out.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what is happening behind the scenes?
I'm gonna defend it for now.
Go for it.
Because I believe that this is all based on my pure feeling and speculation and kind of like the vibe I get.
Yeah.
Now, being having talked to a lot of anime studios and stuff like that, I'm sure same with you, Joey.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm sure they had a rough schedule to begin with when like Mappa got signed on, and then they were like, wait a minute, we actually want to take time to make this fucking slap. So the reason I think this is because you look at the difference in quality from Attack on Titan final season part 1 to everything that came after it. Yeah. Like there is such a huge jump in animation quality. It's like not even comparable.
Oh yeah, I know.
And I think that came about because Mappa were like, let's slow things down and let's actually take time to make the finale something that is worthy of the lineage of Attack on Titan. And you know what? If we get a bit of name fuckery, we can meme about it, all right? But like, considering the final product we got, I think it was more than fucking worth the wait. You know, I
would have been happy to wait even longer as long as we all just got it in one cleanly wrapped packaging. Like, I feel like the fact that they released these final seasons in so many different parts just goes to show that like, well, okay, but you could have, instead of just releasing it, and splitting it up into 15 different fucking parts and confusing everybody, why couldn't you have just pushed everything back and just given it to us all in one go? We're okay with waiting for you guys to, work your magic with the animation and the production and everything. Yeah. That's fine. We've already been waiting 7-8 years at this point.
Yeah.
Right, for it to finish. So it's like, why couldn't they have just pushed that all back to the point where, okay, here we go. Here is the final season, all in one nicely neat, wrapped up bag.
I agree.
And here you go.
We also have recognized in the past that, for example, Netflix kind of killed all hype of JoJo.
Yeah.
The way that they released it. So, the way you release a series does matter.
Oh, it's very important.
As much as like it shouldn't have any bearing on the show.
Yeah.
A large part about consuming media is the surrounding hype. Are you into that? Are you like following along with people? Like that matters a lot to just consuming media in general.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I think that it did kind of detract a little bit from the series in a slight way. Nothing meaningful, of course, but it did add an extra step where I felt like online generally people just cared less about the show.
I definitely agree. I don't know what the creative decision between doing the last finale in like 2 mega hour, an hour and a half long episodes. They had there's enough material there for a season. There's maybe not like a full core 12 episode, but definitely like a strong 9 episode season.
I am really shocked that the final 2 parts weren't just a movie. Genuinely, I kind of
Did I not call this?
You said that
years ago?
Yeah, I think we all had a feeling that they might try it.
I was like, they're gonna end it with like movie length episodes,
and especially with
I was right.
Them being essentially one pretty long movie. I'm kind of surprised they didn't try and release it theatrically.
Yeah. You'd think they'd look at Jujutsu Kaisen or like Demon Slayer and take that as a hint, right?
It was like the worst parts of both worlds. You didn't get the hype of releasing it as like a full 9 episode season for like the hype to build up, but you also didn't get the hype of having it be a theatrical release, which
and then you cut it in half, and separate it over the course of a year.
After watching it, this could definitely, with like the quality they had, this could have definitely been a movie. And there are some like moments.
I would have loved to watch this in the theater.
It would have been incredible. This is the one time when I'm like, end it with the movie. You clearly want to end it off with the bang. If you don't want to split it up into like episodics, like a final 3rd season. So just put it as a movie. But for some reason, they released it as 2 long episodes that just dropped at random intervals in the year. And I'm like, that you are doing everything you can to like kill the hype of this finale.
And that's exactly what it did for me. It killed the hype for me. Where I got to the point where I'm just like, I'll get to it eventually, I guess, but I'm not like frothing at the mouth to finish it at the same time.
Do you want to finish it?
I do. Well, yeah, because obviously I actually do, because like, again, like as Connor said, like, we've all been sticking through with this series for like 10 years, right? And, it's a great fucking show. I love the show. But like, it's just, again, the release order and the way that they fumbled the bag on that, personally speaking, it just kind of lost the hype for me. And I'm just like, I mean, I'll get to it eventually, I guess, but like, I'm not like gagging to like finish it.
I definitely, I felt like in a little bit of the same boat since the final season part 2.
Just saying it out loud is just so tough.
That's where, I started to kind of check out a little bit mentally. I think I was like losing my, I was like, okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I kind of really
final
felt.
Season part 2.
I genuinely felt like it was one of the like more boring sections of the show for me. Because
oh my god,
talk. Don't mind him. Talk your talk.
I'm dying here.
Yeah, you can take it. There's a very big reveal at one point during the show. To do with Aaron. Well, there's many big reveals.
Let's think about some of like the small things that happened in the 2nd season. Wait, what was the opening called again? The rumbling. That's like a tiny event that didn't have any impact on the major story or
crazy.
anything.
Bang a song.
The song was the best part of that. I'll be real. The rumbling, when that started happening, I felt like it was genuinely just boring.
Wait. There is so much we gotta unpack here. Why? Boring?
Yeah, I kind of liked, there was the reveal before this where it was revealed that Aaron had an ability that we didn't know about that had a bearing on the entire story, and I thought that was really cool. And then they just started going on and on about the backstory about where this all came from.
Yeah.
And it just started to feel like, I was like, and I know it's not, but it started feeling like super bloated for me in a way that I then also didn't care about the rumbling, because it felt like I know how this is going to end. Like, this feels like it's going in a very clear direction, and to me, it was like, okay, Attack on Titan was always at its best when you didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
And you had no idea what was happening next.
See,
and I felt like that once the rumbling started, it was kind of set into this motion where I thought it was just going to go a direction, and it absolutely just did go I mean, it's a very safe direction, is the direction it went in.
I was so checked out watching that season. I don't even remember that.
and it felt like
like you were talking about it.
What am I dealing with?
You were talking about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen. I just wasn't paying attention.
Okay, there was a few episodes in that season where I felt like they were just fucking wasting time.
I think the complete fucking opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Because like when I saw everyone was very annoyed, because one thing I did notice, I somehow managed to go spoiler free, so I didn't know.
I somehow went into spoiler 3 as well.
However, I did know that people did not like the ending.
Yeah.
And therefore, I thought the ending was going to be something kind of weird or kind of unusual. But to me, I felt like the ending was about as safe as you could have gone.
Yeah, to me, the ending, I can see why people had issues with it, because I certainly thought that, okay, I think I really liked the ending. I thought it was very messy. In the way it was like,
well, that's getting me excited to watch it.
It was messy, but it was literally the safest outcome. It was like if you were telling a story and you wanted to wrap this up, how do you do it in the way that you think will probably be the most conclusive?
Yeah,
in like
and will satisfy the most people.
Yeah, and will kind of be like a nice little bow on the story.
Right.
So that's what I felt. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I agree. It was convoluted and kind of bloated. I think it was messy.
Yeah, it was messy. We'll get to the ending like eventually, but because I can't let go of this like final season part 2 yet.
Okay. Sure.
Because I thought that I'm trying to think of if there was like a weak point of it, and I would say the part that disinterested me the most is probably like the lore parts. How I described the lore parts of Attack on Titan with the Titans and stuff like that, it kind of felt like, okay, you're watching a horror movie and then there's like this mystery monster, right?
And then they reveal it.
And then they reveal the mechanics of the monster, and you're like, the charm's kind of gone. You know, it's kind of like you have to do it because, hey, you've built this mystery up, and hey, you need some kind of explanation, but there will never be kind of like that kind of, so you can't look at Titans with the same kind of fear or mystique or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't have just gone the Ito Junji route and just never explained the mechanics and just left it a mystery.
I mean, it's so much of the plot.
They were building up to explaining it.
Yeah. They were building up to explaining it. And that was definitely like my least, let's say, the part of Attack on Titan that I was interested in the least.
Pretty boring and bloated.
But I still thought it was like pretty interesting in terms of what that meant for, each character and how each character deals with these revelations. The fucking rumbling, and especially one of my favorite parts of Final Season Part 2 wasn't so much the event of the rumbling itself. It's how you have all these characters. You've built up all these, in my mind, interesting characters, and you just get to see how everyone in their own way deals with it and tries to cope with it, I thought you this is what happens when you just take great characters and put them in an interesting situation. One of my favorite scenes is just when a bunch of these characters are just sitting around a fire pit, no action, just pure dialogue. Yeah. And I was just like, they are just talking and discussing what happened and discussing all the journeys they took to get there. And it's just, this is like compelling television. When you have characters that you've built up this much that all you need to do is just put them in the room together and you're like, all right, magic's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed that segment. It was when during the final season part 2, they get to this docking village. And that's when I was like, what the fuck? This is so boring.
Docking village?
Well, they get to the village with the port. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I love that scene.
What do you mean? It's like 7 episodes. Where they're like at this place. It's so long. I don't know how many episodes it is.
You mean the one where they're stealing the boats?
Yeah, but they're around that area for quite a while, and I was like, hurry the fuck up.
Oh yeah, that did happen. I was like, what are you guys talking about?
And I'm just like, I'm trying not to get too spoilers.
Yeah.
But there's just this, and to me, Attack on Titan, I think the best season of Attack on Titan was season 3.
Yeah, season 3 part 2.
I agree with that.
What?
Season 3, part 2.
Which one is that?
It was 2 parts, remember?
Oh, right. I was like, what? I kind
The ending of season 3.
I think of all of that as 3. I don't know.
No, it's 2 parts, remember?
Yeah, it's 2 parts.
Right.
Yeah.
What was
There was
the
like
gap
a year in
them?
between.
Yeah, season 3, part 2, I suppose. Yeah, is what
Yeah.
I'm referring to is my favorite.
Yeah.
But also, part 1 of season 3 was also really, really good.
Oh yeah, it's
Part 3, sorry, season 3, part 1 and 2, I really liked the most, and that's when it was, I think, at its best for me. And then we had that big reveal, with Eren, and then it slowly started to like taper off for me in terms of interesting, because I felt like then they started
it turned into a different show.
Yeah, it was more about why the fuck this thing is giving Titan powers, and then suddenly I felt like, wow, this is the weakest part of the show yet. And so I watched season 2 of the show.
I think the weakest part was like season 1. I think season 1, you kind of get like...
I haven't rewatched it, so I think if I went back and rewatched it, I might think it's way worse.
Yeah,
I feel like I just need to binge all the seasons now. At this
I
point,
do need to
from the
go
beginning.
back and binge it and come back to this conversation.
This is like...
This is like 10 years of scatterbrain memories.
Yeah.
I'm trying to critique a show.
Yeah.
When I was fucking 17 and I watched it.
The only thing I remember is the dub screen from Armin.
Yeah, I mean, because I have like rewatched the show multiple times. Maybe not like
Opinion
the
is probably
entire...
more valid than mine.
Yeah.
Maybe not like the entirety like recently, but like before, like the last time I rewatched the show was before the final season came out. I was like, I need to refresh because it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Totally worth it for me. I actually think I might have enjoyed it more during my rewatch, because now that you have the context of all the reveals and everything that was kind of like part of the mystery of like Eren's basement and stuff like that, you realize, holy shit, this was all planned from the start.
Yeah, you can see all the little hints now. Right?
Yeah. There are so many hints from season 1
good storytelling.
that out of context, I just like completely blanked on, because I'm like, this scene makes no sense. Why is this scene here? And then you watch it, you're like, oh shit, this is like final season stuff. What the fuck?
He knew from the beginning.
Yeah. It's insane rewatching all of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I do want to go back at some point and rewatch it.
But you know, part of the thing reason I think season 1 was the weakest is mostly just because you are kind of like setting up the world and the characters, and it did like Eren was at that time a much more boring character.
Oh god, he's so boring.
Well, it's just a child.
I mean, he had
fuck children, bro.
Yeah, fuck children. You know? I mean, the point is, you had to establish him as like an angry, angsty teenager who just was like fucking prone to violence.
Yeah,
and
it was the initial hook.
It was like and like at the time, I was just like, oh, he's just like every other edgy shonen protagonist out there. And then you see his growth and evolution, and that's where the payoff comes in. But still, season 1, it was more exciting because of the action scenes, rather than the kind of like me being engrossed by all the character writing and everything.
The character writing.
Everyone used to say that it was Game of Thrones of anime. Because Game of Thrones at the time was really big.
Wait, who the fuck was saying that?
I'm telling you,
everyone was saying that. Everyone was saying that.
Everyone was like, it's like Game of Thrones for anime. Everyone's dying. It's like,
it's like people die equals Game of Thrones.
Well, because that was what dominated the sphere of conversation in like early 2010s. It was
like
all Game of Thrones.
Gaming with difficulty. It's the Dark Souls.
Dark Souls. Yeah.
It's the Dark Souls of hentai.
Game of Thrones with less tits.
You can't not come. Character writing.
Okay, so that's interesting you say that you think season 1 was the weakest, because I think the general consensus when everyone is comparing all the seasons to one another, I think the major consensus is a lot of people say season 2 was the weakest.
Season 2 was when I actually started getting invested in it.
Right.
Season 2 was when I kind of realized that, these characters are actual like characters with depth and their own goals, and it was a series that was willing to put focus on other people rather than what I thought they were.
Well, I mean, there was also
focus
just
on.
a lot less action in season 2 as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
So I
there
think
was.
that's what like
Season 2 was
kind
just set
of
up.
pushed a lot of people back.
Yeah, season 2 was set up, but even so, just seeing like the focus on Yumi and Historia, who were a big part of season 2. And I remember like watching season 2, I was like, okay, when are they gonna get back to like Levi and the main characters, the big 3? Who are these 2 little lovers who we didn't see anything about in like the first season?
I think also because there was a 4-year wait.
Yeah,
I think right.
Yeah,
Between
4-year wait,
which was like And everyone was fucking waiting for the second season. And then that's what came out. And I think people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then I think it really hit me at the end when I was like, shit, I actually really care about these two people. Maybe even more so than the main characters. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm actually getting invested, like properly invested in someone. Because before, when you have a character death in season 1, it was just like, we've known this person for like one episode. Like, oh, it's the Levi squad. Oh, wait, no. Okay.
It's just Levi.
Okay, yeah, it's just Levi. And I'm like, I guess that's sad, you know, but it was obviously like very impactful, mostly I think because of like the direction and the music and everything. But how much I actually cared about anyone who got off in season 1 was just like, it was all like shock factor. Yeah. Whereas season 2 actually started giving a shit about characters, that had absolutely no screen time in season 1. And then like the absolute fucking balls of this man to do one of the biggest reveals just in like a piece of like side dialogue. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
The betrayal scene.
Oh, yes.
Really
and then, you were expecting this kind of like big reveal to be like, haha, I am this person.
It is I.
It is I. It was me all along.
Yeah, but the entire time was just like, by the way, it's me.
And in Attack on Titan, it was just like a piece of dialogue that was going on in the background. And you had to like literally double take to be like, wait, did he just... And I was like, this is like the most genius way to do like a big plot reveal like I've ever seen, because it like completely subverted expectations. So like even season 2 was like the slower season, had so many like amazing points.
Yeah, that was
moments.
one of the best moments in the show.
Yeah.
I think it was a really good highlight.
Yeah, I feel like, I remember because there was a time when I think it was just season 2 that had come out, and a lot of people were comparing it to season 1 and being like, and obviously not knowing where the story was going. So they looked at season 2, which had a lot more new characters that you had to get yourself, invested into, and less action. So people were immediately like, season 2, not as great as season 1.
Yeah.
But again, like, I think it's until after season 3 came out that people realized that it was just a setup for season 3. And then everyone, I think that's when the appreciation for season 2 slowly started to come back. But there's still a lot of people who say season 2 was their least favorite.
Yeah, I can see why.
And generally, overall, it was, but maybe the final season part 2 is my least favorite. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I can't really think of a season I really like didn't like. There are like weaker seasons, but overall, the final season as a whole, I think the latter half, I think there was like still like super like interesting things happening. Like to me, like the rumbling and all like the reaction around that. I think season 4 was just really compelling character drama. Before that, I was still like really, really invested in the action scenes as well. Like, seeing like humans versus titans. Season 4, it was just like, war is war. War never changes and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I've seen this kind of thing before. The action scenes, which were equally as hype, I was actually less interested in the action scenes than just seeing characters.
Well, yeah, because it turned into a human drama.
Yeah. It's just seeing characters like talk to each other. Yeah, for sure. Some of my favorite scenes in season 4 were just dialogue scenes, like Eren like talking to Reiner in the basement. That was just like, you could just cut the tension with a knife in that scene, and I was like, this is just compelling television, and I fucking love it. So I don't think that there was a bad season of Attack on Titan. I think there were weaker parts, but I think overall, Attack on Titan, to me, with this ending, which I was very, very scared of because I had heard of the opinions of the manga readers, but now that I've watched it, I don't think it was the greatest ending in the world, but I think it did the job. And I think most importantly, it kind of like cemented that Attack on Titan to me is kind of like a modern classic, I think,
they should just stick the landing, right? I think you've already got such a crazy story and a backstory that is really already way complicated. Yeah, and I feel like you just do a simple ending, right? Don't do anything crazy. I think that's what they went for.
Yeah. What did you think of the ending?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It was exactly what I thought was going to happen. Like the moment with the 4th season, part 1, or the fuck started, it was just clear that it was going there. Like it was. There's like I couldn't see it. The fact that There could have been another alternative ending, but I don't think they would have gone for
Like
it.
they didn't try to challenge it.
No,
No.
it felt very obvious what was going to happen.
Because is it true that the ending to the anime is slightly different?
It
the
is
manga
slightly
ending?
different. So I had to look into this because I was like, I need to know
Yeah.
why the fuck manga readers were so pissed off.
Right.
Some of it completely fucking stupid and invalid.
Right.
Like it got to the point
Like the
where-
complaints or the ending?
the complaints.
Oh, right.
Like from what I understand, and manga readers, you can tell me if I'm wrong because I didn't experience.
Oh, they
it.
will.
Okay, there are some things where I'm like, there was one line. Can I say this line?
Sure.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, Mudan.
Yeah,
Spoiler
spoiler
alert.
alert.
There was a line that was changed from the manga to the anime, and it was a line where Armin thanked Eren for becoming a mass murderer.
What is he, a true crime YouTuber? Why?
That was based content, Aaron. You did a good job. Kind of
I'm
high.
gonna get a 20-part series out of this. Thanks.
Yo, your KD ratio through the roof.
And I'm like, ooh, that's a spicy line right there.
So they changed that in the anime.
Yeah, so they changed that in the anime to just Armin telling Eren that hey, see you in hell, motherfucker.
Right.
And it's I kind of understood.
Makes more sense.
Yeah, I kind of understood like the intention of that line, which was just Armin kind of like trying to, even though he knows Eren's a fucking bad guy and did all this bad shit, that he tried to take some of that guilt along with him because he still sees him as a friend.
Right.
The line just came out.
It just doesn't translate.
I mean, there's like,
I wonder if it was a translation thing as well.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what the original line
I
was.
need to see it in Japanese.
yeah, I'm not sure, but I think some of it was just that there was just so much kind of like anticipation for the ending, right? That I don't think any amount of hype that manga readers had, the expectations, was going to be met by the manga ending at all.
Right.
Because I think luckily manga readers took the L for us, because I think pretty much all of our expectations were tempered a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we saw what the manga readers, how the manga readers
we have the
react.
exact line. Armin says, "Thank you for turning yourself into a mass murderer for our sake."
Oh, it's even worse than what I said.
For our sake.
Oh, and Isayama expresses regret towards this line of dialogue, admitting the intent of the words didn't come across as he hoped.
Yeah.
That
It
makes
is
sense.
crazy how you just fuck up one line of dialogue and it's like, well, everyone thinks your story sucks.
Yeah.
But I imagine if he regrets it, then I imagine he probably told the anime staff or they had a
it's like,
conversation. where
please change
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I meant to do something different here.
This episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN.
Boys, have you seen the Japanese yen exchange rate right now?
Oh!
If you don't know, the Japanese yen has tanked for us, and we need to save every yen that we can, especially when it comes to services that come from abroad, guys.
It's so easy to have those streaming services prices just add up. Think about it. Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, you name it. All of them are just offering the same thing. But with ExpressVPN, you don't need them anymore.
See, all these streaming services like Netflix actually have thousands of more shows than you think. You just don't see them because they give you different shows depending on your country. So, what you see on Netflix in Japan, for example, is going to be completely different to, say, something you'll see in Italy or South Korea. But using the ExpressVPN app, you can change your online location whenever you want. You can, Garnt. ExpressVPN has over 90 countries to choose from. So every time you run out of shows to watch, you can just switch to another country and unlock completely new shows.
See, guys, now that we live in Japan, most of the anime I want to watch is on Netflix. But whenever I go abroad, I have to sign up to other subscription services when I just say I'm there for like a few weeks. But thanks to ExpressVPN, every time I'm abroad, I can just tune into Japanese Netflix and watch free rent right here.
Thank God.
It's a no-brainer. So if you want to get way more shows and save money while you're at it, go to expressvpn.com/trashtaste.
Do it.
Don't forget to use our link so you can get 3 months extra for free. That's expressvpn.com/trashtaste. expressvpn.com/trashtaste to learn more. Back to the episode.
Yeah. I mean, like, I still have my qualms with the ending. I think there are, like, there was a lot that was presented to us within this ending, and I think a big problem was that the mystery of season 4. So every like season had the mystery that they were building up towards, and the mystery for season 4 was what the fuck was Eren doing? Like this entire time, right? We really did not know what he was thinking, and then he kind of like dumped 20 million different things and like to us in about like 5 minutes or something. And I'm like, I get it. I think there's
his motivation felt very like, I just want a genocide.
Yeah.
He just
And it's
wanted
like,
to
why?
watch
He's like,
Wahlberg.
I just think it's a good idea. And it's like, well,
Yeah. It's
well, why?
at the beginning, it was like it kind of felt like I just want a genocide. Oh no, wait, I wanted you guys to do this. Oh no, wait, I needed to enact this timeline because my mind is fucked up.
Yeah.
There was just a lot.
Zero planning.
It almost felt like every part of Attack on Titan had been planned up until like this point.
Yeah.
Because before that, it just felt like everything had been so meticulously planned, and then you got to this point, and it just kind of felt like, let's just throw a bunch of things at the wall, and maybe something is going to like stick with everything. But like to me, it kind of felt confusing. Where if you just had like a few extra scenes just to tell me what was going through Eren's mind, I think that would have like cleared things up perfectly.
I had this thought, and I don't know if it's like blasphemous to say this. When they were kind of doing a bunch of the ending stuff on the final season, I remember sitting there thinking like, man, I feel like if this was Hunter x Hunter, like his way of explaining things, I'd be so into this. It's just a different way.
Well, Togashi built different.
The way that Togashi explains stupidly, like the way that he'll tell me something complicated that I know is dumb, but he'll just make it seem so cool.
You can say Great Island. It's all right.
There's just so many things so many of his stories that he presents them in a way where I'm like, I know this is dumb, but man, it just seems so cool in this world. And I'm so into it. And I felt like with the Ymir backstory shit, I felt like, man, if Togashi was writing this, I feel like I'd be so into it. But I was watching it and I was like, man, I just don't give a fuck about the fucking backstory of this stupid girl. I genuinely just didn't care. That was easily the worst part of the show for me.
Yeah. So kind of same here.
And that was the only if there's this, it was a banger of a show. It was really the only part that really started to make me lose interest was that.
Yeah, like
So what you're saying is you would have liked it if Togashi had written it.
If he'd have just subbed in, let him like sub in, and then I'm wondering like, wait, why is there a narrator in Attack on Titan? I'm down. It'd be so hype if Eren's mental was narrated about why he wanted to do war crimes instead.
And then Eren wanted to kill everyone.
But something changed in Eren in this millisecond.
Eren was
He had
like,
seen something that Ymir had possessed in him.
Eren was like, don't worry, guys. I'll become a mass murderer for your sakes. I got this. I'll shoulder the sins on myself.
And then the narrator would tell me why. And I'd be like, that's so cool.
If Togashi
He's
wrote
so
that line,
real for
if
this.
Togashi wrote that line,
He's
everyone
so
would be like, goated.
It would.
Are you saying you wanted things even more explained to you, or?
Well, no, I don't know, because I watched this
We
video.
just want it to be explained better.
I did have to
the only way.
there was a few times where I had to go back and watch half of the episode again in part 2 to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like to fully comprehend what's happening.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a good and bad thing. It's like cool that you have a show that is so much depth to it that I almost have to pause and have a think. But also very annoying that I watched this first, and maybe I'm just dumb, which is probably very reasonable assumption here to make. But when I'm watching it, I'm just like, man, I'm just confused. Like, what?
I think that's the problem when you add so many like different elements, because I think the advantage the earlier season had was like the simplicity.
Yeah.
And with the final season, it was already complex enough with the political stuff. That was already great, and that was what I was interested in. And then you add the Titan mechanics with time traveling and inheriting wills and all this bullshit. And like, if you like think about it deeply, you kind of are just like, it starts to just get more confusing as every
and
kind
less
of story.
compelling, I think.
Yeah. To me, that was never why I liked Attack on Titan. That was never the main focus. I know some people love go into lore diving, but like for me, one of the things that bothered me please explain Attack on Titan lore experts if I'm misunderstanding something. But in season 4, where every descendant of the royal had like special was the only one that could take on the powers of the special founding Titan, whatever, right? And then it's explained that every Eldian, or is that the right word?
Eldians,
yeah. Every Eldian comes from the same person, Ymir. Yeah. So how do you distinguish between who's royal and who's not when they all share the same bloodline. Like I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand what made the difference between a royal and just a normal person that shared blood from the same creator. I was just like,
I can already see the manga readers in the comments
There's
being
probably
like, it's in the inner linings of the manga. You had to have read the manga.
It got to the point where I was like, man, I'll just wait for the YouTube lore deep dive explainer. Like, I'll just wait because like I feel like I'm not prepared for this story
Where's the
anymore.
Did You Know anime video for Attack on Titan lore?
and then when you get to that point where you start like breaking down the mechanics, that's when I start to get less interested because
The moment I need a 1 hour YouTube video to explain it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I kind of checked out.
because it just like kind of like detracts from what the story's trying to tell either. Because and it feels like it almost had to be written this way because he had to explain something about it, you know. But that was, to me, that was never the main strengths of Attack on Titan as a story. And now with this ending, I was completely satisfied. I think it could have been executed a little bit cleaner. Most of it had to do with lore stuff. Had to do with like lore stuff. I'm not gonna lie. But in terms of like all the character resolutions, I was happy with the ending we got. I know
They stuck the landing, could you say?
I'd say they landed on 2 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
They might have like stumbled along the way, but they didn't fall over.
But
you know?
they finish it off. They finished off the boat.
I just realized whenever they're in that goddamn fucking sand realm with the tree, that's when I was like, fuck, this episode's gonna be boring. whenever they go to this, like I don't know, type in Attack on Titan Ymir world or something.
The path.
Yeah. This is fucking. Let me show you. Yeah, this. Whenever they fucking go here, I'm like, God, this episode's gonna be boring.
But cool background though.
Actually, like it's funny because the final season, kind of like the actual final episode that we got, that was probably my least favorite part of Attack on Titan.
The action was kind of boring.
It looked gorgeous.
It looked gorgeous, but I felt like I know what's going to happen here. Come on.
No. Do you know what it felt like? It felt like you know when you watch a Marvel movie, and like some Marvel movies have like really interesting
We're
concepts.
in the third act fight.
And you're like, and then you get to the third act fight. You're like, all right, this big CGI battle.
Guys,
all right, wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
We know they're gonna win.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh no, Doctor Strange is going to lose. Oh, guys, guys.
Ain't no way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of like my feel. Like compared to that, I will take this because this actually has like some interesting character moments in there, like some of the path stuff. But like the final battle, I was like, it looks great. It looks funny. Nothing's really interesting is happening with the characters, so it's just action scenes. So it's just pretty fireworks, which is the way you should, conclude a show or whatever. Sure. But I was waiting for how the ending was meant to happen, which was great. Question to you guys. Let's like
that from Garnt.
How much do you think the ending really matters? Because I was going to ask this to you, Joey, which is you haven't seen the ending yet.
Yeah.
How much is the ending, and how much can the ending affect your opinion on like everything that a series has achieved
I think
so
the
far?
ending is very, very important. I think when people talk about overall fantastic shows that become memorable, a lot of people think about the ending. Like there are so many like, great, decent, even fantastic shows that we had, which had a really fucking horrible ending, which just completely ruined the entire reputation of the show. Even though the show up until that point was pretty decent, like look at like Dead Man Wonderland, for instance, right? Like pretty decent show up until the last couple of episodes, and then it just fucking ruins everything. Whereas,
actually, Dead Man Wonderland just never got.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It's
the manga was bad there.
The manga was a lot better, right? But like,
no, the manga still sucked.
The manga was better than the anime.
It was better, yeah. It was the ending,
but not by
terrible.
much, right? Just having even a good or decent ending does wonders for a show. Look at why do you think say Code Geass, for instance, is still talked about to this day?
But I feel like
it has a goated ending.
It's most stories always go for a safe ending. Think about most stuff you watch; they always go for the ending that is kind of being telegraphed the entire time.
But I would rather take a safe ending than a shit ending.
Yeah.
It's very risky.
Correction, most anime I watch don't even get endings.
Well, that's
so
true.
actually just getting an ending in and of itself is actually a pretty
I
rare
agree.
fucking deal.
I actually think I don't care about endings that much. I feel like it's more about the journey, and if a show has a bad ending, I'll probably remember that.
But it's so rare.
Yeah.
It's so rare that an amazing show will be amazing all the way through and then just have a shit ending.
Yeah, because I was like, I think I had this thought, with Attack on Titan, because, even with some of the weirdest stuff that happened in the, even with some of the stuff they changed from the manga ending to the anime ending, they weren't that much different. It wasn't that much different. And I remember thinking, when we talk about bad endings, everyone brings up Game of Thrones. And that wasn't a bad ending. That was a bad few seasons that also had a bad ending.
Yeah, it was leading up to being terrible. So when everyone's like, man, the ending of Game of Thrones is so bad, I think they just meant you going into the final season, you really didn't feel good about it.
Yeah, that was like a good 3 seasons of going downhill to a final season.
Okay,
being
I have I just thought of an example of an amazing show that had a pretty crummy ending.
What?
Yu Yu Hakusho.
But was
You
it
don't even remember
Was
the
it like
ending.
the last few?
That's how lackluster
Was it like the
that
last
shit was.
few moments leading up to it were lackluster? Or was it literally just amazing right until it ends?
It was, in my opinion,
What's wrong with the ending?
it was fucking rushed. Even Togashi said it was rushed.
It was okay, but
Was it that bad though?
It had so much potential and it just fucking fumbled itself, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the final arc was weak as hell compared to everything that came
But the
previously.
final arc had so much potential, and then it just was like, never mind, we're done.
I mean, it just kind of ended. I wouldn't say it was like a bad end. People with the Attack on Titan endings, especially with what I've read about manga readers, they were just like, oh, this has ruined the entire series for me. And I'm like, can a final scene or can a final chapter actually change your perception of an entire series?
I do think it can if you do a bad enough job.
I also think it's not fair with Attack on Titan because I think the expectations of every anime watcher and every Attack on Titan fan was just astronomically huge.
But I also think that let's say you read that line from Armin where he just goes against, I guess, his entire character.
Yeah.
That happened in Game of Thrones as well with Jaime. One of the big criticisms is that in the very last scene in Game of Thrones, they kind of, this character who'd been having this whole redemption arc for the past few seasons just says something that literally goes against everything that he'd been building up to. Right. And then it's kind of like a slap in the face. And I imagine that's probably why some of the fans got very annoyed at Attack on Titan is that, hey, we have this character who we've been learning so much about for the past 10 years. And then he says one thing that is like, wait, what the fuck?
Right, yeah.
It's like, it's like finding out a friend that you play fucking Valorant with does war crimes. You're like, what the fuck? I thought we were kidding when we said we like this. What the hell? It's
weird example. Do you have a friend like that?
Long story. It's like
I would actually say a more accurate analogy would probably be like, oh, you find out your friend Valorant is like a Nazi sympathizer. That is like literally what it would be.
Yeah, you're like, a lot of the stuff starting to make sense now.
They definitely exist.
I think that you can do stuff that ruins characters.
Kanye fans.
I mean, bro, look at his music, dude. No one plays that shit anymore.
That is true. Kanye is a great example.
You can do stuff that ruins the story and the characters.
Worst ending.
But he made Graduation. Season 1 Kanye was the best.
Holy shit. Oh my god, sorry.
I think again, when Attack on Titan, I feel is a very special instance in the anime world because again, it had so much of a dedicated fan base and it was such a long-running series that the expectations for it to do the perfect triple axel at the end and land it completely, like 10 out of 10, was almost expected with how much the show was hyping itself up and how much the fans were hyping itself up. So I think it's kind of a double-edged sword of like when a show gets that popular and that hyped up and the fans are expecting only the best thing from it and they don't get exactly the most mind-blowing ending imaginable, even if it was like a good ending, right? Like a perfectly fine, safe ending, as you guys put it, right?
Yeah.
I think it still undervalues itself compared to how people wanted it to actually be. And so people look at that and go, well, it wasn't exactly mind-blowing, aka it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And then that's where the criticisms start, I feel.
Because I feel like, I don't know how many times we've experienced an anime ending where it's just kind of like completely changed our perception, because most of the time when we watch a long running show get to an end, the show's already done everything it's needed to do. And the last like 10 kind of like % of that is just like, okay, I am finishing this just because I just want to close this chapter, you know, which is what I feel like a lot of people who are watching the final episode of Attack on Titan felt. They just wanted to close this chapter off because they had been such a big part of their lives for like the last 10 years, you know.
But it is possible to have like that ending that the fans watching that show and have been following that show with, you know, kind of look at and go, okay, that is definitely, for one, almost, you know, goes beyond our expectations of the show, even though we had high expectations for it.
Yeah.
And was not necessarily like the safe way to end it. Like, again, like I'm going to bring back Code Yes again, because like the ending of season 2, I think a lot of people watched that when it was even airing and was like, holy shit, that ending is insane. Like so many people weren't expecting that ending. And that show was already a very popular show and had very high expectations for it to stick the landing. And I think it...
Oh, the execution was insane.
The execution, I dare say, was perfect.
It easily could have been fucking stupid, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the ending was one of those that I could see it going really badly.
Yeah, definitely.
It just wasn't executed perfectly.
But I feel like they also, you know, they also took a risk with that ending as well. And because that could have gone south very easily. But they were just in that lucky position where they managed to create something that was unique and memorable and amazing, which is very difficult to do. You know? And now they're bringing him back, so that's fucked.
Because like you talked about Yu Yu Hakusho, and I remember thinking, I don't necessarily remember too much of the ending. I just remember the last arc being weak. But what I do remember was just like, it doesn't really matter. Like, Yu Yu Hakusho still goated, you know.
No, it's still goated.
Yeah, that didn't like change my perception of Yu Yu Hakusho at all, but it's also a different kind of story, I guess, because, you know...
I think the problem with Yu Yu Hakusho was that it kind of cut itself short at the moment where it could have turned into something amazing. Whereas like clearly Togashi's heart was not in it for the final arc.
Yeah.
You know, the dark tournament arc, I think he put 100% of his effort in. And if he had ended it there, would have been goated. Like no complaints whatsoever. I think the fact that he went on to half-ass this final arc kind of just made it be like...
I'm
basically, it's a thing that happens a lot in Shonen Jump, which is just, they kind of just cut it off.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you get bored of it.
Yeah, no matter what.
That's how we get half of the fucking awful endings in animes.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, pack it up, champ.
It's like, wrap it up, guys, wrap it up.
You're done.
Yeah, like, I remember my most recent, like, holy shit, this ending is fucking bad, is probably Promised Neverland Season 2. No, not even Promised Neverland Season 2. Promised Neverland, the manga.
Oh, the manga.
The manga, yeah.
Because I know season 2 ending, we don't talk about that.
Season 2 ending was just like, that was just something different. That was a bad adaptation. But season, like the final arcs of Promised Neverland, that was just it kind of took what was like, to me, I don't know if it was rushed. It kind of felt like it was rushed. 90% of bad endings, in my opinion,
are rushed.
Kind of like it feels like it's rushed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can't spend like 500 fucking episodes fucking around in some field in some anime and then just have 20 episodes be the ending. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like One Piece, if it ever ends, is gonna have to do like a fucking 500 chapter lead up. Otherwise, people are gonna be like, it's rushed.
I think that's what they're currently doing.
Yeah, probably. You got to. Like, you have, like, it has to be such a giant arc to end it. Otherwise, people will be like, nah, it's rushed.
Well, I think a lot of the issues with anime endings, especially when it comes to like action focus. So I'm gonna bring up a very, very old anime that I don't know how many people have watched this, but the anime is called Buso Renkin.
I've heard of this.
Goated.
You've seen it? Yeah, yo, that's going back to the anime man days, man.
I love Buso Renkin.
What's the plot about?
I do not remember.
It's shown in Jump from like 2003, 2004, something like that.
But like the important thing about that ending that like I remember was that normally in like an anime ending, you have the final episode be like action focused, like it was in Attack on Titan, for example, where you have the final climax scene, and that's the final ending to the show.
Also Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's so nostalgic.
This is nostalgic.
So nostalgic.
It looks like Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's nostalgic as hell.
Nostalgic
But
as fuck.
the reason I remember this one is because this entire final episode was just epilogue.
and just tying up loose ends.
I
No
love
action.
epilogue episodes.
And I'm like, why did more shows not do this? Why do you have to feel like, hey, this final episode has to have action in it because that's the climax?
Not every action anime has to end with the main characters fighting with the opening playing over it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You can tell the after story. It's fine.
I think another one of the anime goats, the ending is so good, is Garnt, as you know, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's a great ending.
It does have a good ending. It does have a good ending.
It's a great ending. It has an epilogue, and it's really fucking good.
It does have a good ending.
It ties up the story so goddamn well, and I think it's the reason why that show also has been remembered as one of the greats.
I agree with that.
I think the ending is just really good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know why more shows don't do like epilogues. And I'm not being like, when I say epilogue, I don't mean like, oh, one or two like scenes of like what they're doing, but like, no, dedicate an entire fucking episode on what these characters are getting up to. We have been invested in these characters for this long. Yeah. Do you think we don't care enough to sit down and just check out what their lives are going to be like after the big massive fight, after the big massive event?
Yeah.
No, I fucking love that shit.
Just hearing the characters talk over and reminiscing over those final events is already interesting enough where people are like, oh, okay, so that's how they felt about it.
Yeah.
You know, and now it creates this nice close to be like, well, you know what? They're alive. They're doing good. I'm happy for them. Cool.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right?
that's all we need.
That to me brings more closure than like having to tie up every fucking loose end and ending it off in a big climax. Because not every ending has to be Code Geass. Not every ending has to be fucking Cowboy Bebop where it ends on like a single iconic moment. Sometimes all you need to do is just let the characters have the send-offs they deserve. Let them cook. Have the send-offs they deserve, and just let them like wallow in that moment for a bit longer than one single scene. That's what I want.
I think I've just been fucking conditioned to just getting used to shows that don't get endings.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's the majority of it.
Like,
yeah.
You know, like I watched all of House of Cards. And then, you know,
what's House of Cards again?
Remember the Netflix, the first
HBO?
The first Netflix
the Kevin Spacey one.
Oh,
Spacey. Yeah.
I just watched it, and loads of shows around that time just kind of fizzled out that you would just watch. Like Lost, I never fucking finished.
Yeah. What's some endings you remember then? Like
Endings
anime, not film.
Fuck, I'd love to say, well, it's such a cop out answer. But Breaking Bad was such a good ending. Breaking Bad was a good ending.
That was a good ending.
I really like that ending.
Like that was probably one of the few endings that didn't necessarily do anything grand. It just tied up everything in a neat package. Yeah. You know, because when I think of endings that stick out in my mind, you think about things like Code Geass or the ending of like Usual Suspects or fucking Sixth Sense or stuff like that. Something where something iconic happens at the end. But
7.
yeah, 7.
7.
You know.
I think it's easier to type a movie in general than it is to watch.
We're talking like shows. Like
we're talking anything.
anything.
What are some like endings that stick out in your mind?
Right.
As like some of like the goated endings, you know.
I think I'm so bad at this. I can't remember.
Yeah, because like to me, like I named out most of the endings that stuck out to me in terms of like movies.
Right.
In terms of like anime, obviously like Cowboy Bebop was one. And everything else, I know I'm forgetting something. You know that feeling where you're forgetting like something.
I know I'm forgetting like at least like 3 or 4.
Yeah. We think of Code Geass, we think of stuff like Cowboy Bebop. I can't think of many other iconic anime endings that didn't just, hey, we tied up every loose end. Like Gurren Lagann was something that was just like, hey, we tied up every loose end, you know?
But most people remember Gurren Lagann not for the ending, but for episode 16, right? When that happens.
The ending was pretty fun though.
No spoilers, but
when they were throwing galaxies at each other.
That was kind of
pretty raw.
That was
pretty raw.
That was fucking hype.
Pretty raw.
I actually wish that got more of an epilogue, actually.
Yeah.
But that was kind of a hype climax as well.
That was true, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of
Cyberpunk. Pretty good. I like Cyberpunk. Really good ending.
What was the ending?
What, the Edge Runners ending?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a good ending?
I like that ending.
I remember it being a good ending.
I like that ending.
I don't remember
I like the message of "fuck you, you're not special." we need more things with some real takes.
Yeah.
I'm tired about hearing the chosen one. I don't care about the chosen one. I want to hear about average Joe who gets too close to the sun.
Do you think more endings should have their like sad endings?
I love endings that are fucked up. Endings that like leave you feeling hollow.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that sticks with me so much longer than
You don't like the School Days ending. You literally just described the school days ending.
No,
so
that's
hypocrite.
That's just fucking your way out of
Joey,
like.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Speaking of great,
I'll say for Connor.
hey, speaking of great endings,
First of all,
School
not
days.
a great ending. That ending was
Has to be a
dumb
good
as
series
shit.
before it has a good ending, Joey.
you didn't say anything like
That
that.
ending could have been like the rawest shit if the previous 5 episodes went dog.
Yeah, but it was the rawest shit.
No, but it would have been fucking cool if it was a good show.
That's one of the rare occasions where the show is shit, but the ending is goated.
Okay, credit where credit's due. The ending was fucking weird to the point where I can't forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do want more endings where I'm like, what the fuck?
yeah, totally.
I think those kinds of endings stick with you for a lot longer.
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
because, you know, I've seen enough endings that are like happy endings or like some are pretty much most endings that I can remember are kind of like bittersweet. You know, I feel like that's the meta. You know, even Attack on Titan.
most anime endings for me are just like they're just almost unmemorable. Like they end off in a way where it's not 100% conclusive, but it's not 100% left in the dark. You know, it's like the 80s freeze frame equivalent of an ending where it's just like, yep, I guess that's the end now. Cool. You know, it's nothing special nothing special or memorable in either a good or a bad sense, you know?
Right,
But
because I'm trying to think of a manga ending that actually stuck out to me because I don't see anime endings.
Slam Dunk ending.
I'm reading that, by the way.
The last.
Oh, you're reading that?
The last chapter is goated.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Just.
I'll let you know what I think when we're done.
Let me know what you think about it.
Oh, that was the one with no dialogue,
Yeah,
right?
the no dialogue one.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was goated, and that one he took a risk.
I like the Garnt ending. It's really fucking weird.
I'm trying to remember the guess ending.
Where they like, they just meet some weird aliens.
Oh
And that was just
yeah,
really fucking weird.
yeah, that
Oh,
was
that-
weird.
That wasn't the ending.
Well,
that was
I
like
know,
the
I know,
lead
yeah,
up to the
yeah.
ending.
Yeah.
The ending I don't remember. That was the last thing I remember about Gantz.
That's
as
in
a
my
whole.
head, that's the ending.
Yeah. I'm gonna toilet quickly and I'm gonna Google iconic endings just in general.
This episode is sponsored by Harry's. There is a subscription service for everything. these
Everything.
days. From artisan jerky to all those streaming subscriptions. It feels like they've lost their real value, saving time and money.
Subscriptions only really make sense for stuff you use all the time on the same cadence, like razor blades. And with Harry's, you get high quality German engineered blades right at the front of your door. Every order saves you money compared to the big brands most guys are used to buying, so get them as low as $2 per blade at harrys.com/trash taste.
As we all know, I only use Harry's, and I've been using them since they started sponsoring this show. There's a reason why. I just like the quality. The shave that I get is by far better than any other brand I've ever used. That's no bullshit. I've genuinely been using only Harry's the past 2 years now. Brand. So Harry's, please send me more. I can't get them in Japan, and I want more.
Get a subscription that saves you time and money today with Harry's. Get started with a $13 trial set at just $3 at harrys.com/trash taste. That's harrys.com/trash taste for a $3 trial set.
What are you
Like,
waiting
Wow. Wow, Connor. Wow.
for? What are you waiting for? I'm trying to have them.
Okay.
no.
It's okay.
It's okay. You
Carry on.
can take it, Connor. You can take it. No.
That's harrys.com/trash taste for a $3 trial set right now. Get it. Press the link in the description.
Back to the episode.
Harry's.
All right. I got a list of the top 10 iconic anime endings of all time.
Sure.
Is this the one? Oh, Devilman Crybaby had a fucking
That had an amazing.
end. That was the bleak, empty ending, and
I love that.
That was a go day.
That was
there was
fucking
Hypnotic and
incredible.
Emme as well, which is a very underrated ending as well.
Yeah.
Madoka Magica?
that was
I
okay.
don't
That
remember
one was
the ending.
okay.
That was like an Ava ending.
Tatami Galaxy.
Haven't seen Tatami Galaxy.
I don't-
It's my
I don't
one
remember how it
Russia
ends.
thing I haven't seen. Paranoid Agents.
Yeah, that had a decent ending. I think it's just not as memorable as the rest of the show.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the ending didn't stand out as much as the rest of like the weird ideas of the rest of the show.
Yeah. What else we got? Barakamon.
Barakamon. Haven't seen that.
I mean, that doesn't have a lot of story to go off of. Dororo.
I didn't watch
I didn't finish that.
I didn't finish it either.
I'm sad. I'm sad
Yeah.
now. Yeah. Hunter.
Yo,
that's cap. That's what ending?
cap.
What is what?
There is no ending.
All right.
What's next, Berserk?
Oh my lord.
Naruto Shippuden, yeah. So Naruto Shippuden is like, that's a good example, like the Naruto ending of just what I mean by just the most safe, cookie cutter ending you could ask for,
Yeah.
and that's completely fine. You know,
Yeah.
you've been with these characters. Oh, Anohana.
I feel like it was a safe ending.
The Anohana ending?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. I'm trying to remember.
I remember crying like a motherfucker to this.
I
final
know I
episode.
cried like a motherfucker, but I don't know if that was because I was like an emotional teen. I don't know if it will like affect me that much at this day and age, because I remember this was like, Anohana was more like Pavlov's dog. It conditioned
Right.
you with that one song
yeah,
at the
yeah,
end,
yeah.
and then it like
When Secret Base comes on.
yeah, and then at the ending of Anohana, I feel like the reason that was iconic was just because the song just kept going and going, and I was just like, stop! I don't have any tears left.
They all
please.
scream, "I found you," and then the ending starts, and you're just like, "Ah!" Like, why? Katsunogatari.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was
That had a good
really
ending.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
fucking love that show.
That's
That
a
show's
great
so
fucking
good.
show.
Yeah. Okay,
Nishoshin goaded.
goated. All right.
All right, what else?
Next one, Your Line April.
I didn't watch that shit.
See, this is a very divisive ending.
It is.
Because a lot of people love this ending, and a lot of people just thought it was kind of a cop-out.
I thought it was a cop out.
Yeah.
This is like my hot take, where I prefer the first half of Your Line April rather than the second half. It really felt like, to me, some of like the more interesting part of Your Line April to me was seeing someone fall in love with music again.
Yeah.
And then there was a big,
That's why I didn't watch it.
yeah, and then there was a big twist, because it almost felt like, hey, what this character's going through isn't sad enough. We need to make it sadder.
Yeah, the character drama of Corsair, I think, like not being able to hear like the piano and shit like
That
that.
was
That
super
part
compelling.
was so well written.
Yeah, yeah,
And then they just had to be
And then it
like,
just-
by the way, the girl you love,
yeah.
something's gonna happen. I'm not gonna say it, obviously
yeah.
spoilers, but
So yeah, that's
it's a bit of a cop out. Steins Gate.
okay. Steins
yeah,
Gate.
that's the one we forget.
Okay, we need to. Yeah, I knew one was on the like tip of my tongue. Steins Gate.
That entire second half is just good.
Steins Gate to me needs the respect it deserves for having a time travel story, and somehow wrapping up its like mechanics and its story in a satisfying manner.
I agree.
You know, because most of the time when you introduce time travel to a story, there is going to be some fuck up along the way, where like to the ending where it's just like, oh, that kind of like plot didn't make sense.
Yeah.
The mechanics didn't make sense. Steins Gate is pretty much one of the only examples I can think of where you introduce time travel and you manage to close the loop while making it like seem like everything was resolved.
Yeah, and I think what was genius with Steins Gate is that they did all of that. They somehow managed to tie so many of the loose ends perfectly into one knot while not making the conclusion obvious for people who was watching. Like, you had no idea how that show was going to end.
Yeah.
Even
watched it and I can't
even
remember the
as they
ending.
like gave you all of this information from like literally multiple different timelines at the same time.
I think the impressive thing about this one isn't so much what happened; it's the fact that they managed to tie everything up.
Yeah, and they made it make
I remember
sense.
liking it. I
Yeah.
don't remember what happens, but I remember liking it.
It's
The only I'd say negative thing about Steins Gate is that it is a slow burner, especially the first half.
I remember the first half was so hard to get through.
Yeah,
I
but
was
that,
watching
but
it.
if you make it through that first half, that entire first 10, 11 episodes is the build up.
It's also
It's the Attack on Titan
Yeah.
season 2 of Steins Gate.
and I know it's like intentional, but it's so gray.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and then visually very like boring. So it's really hard to like sit there for like 10 episodes, watch them in the exact same location. You're like, oh,
Where are my RGB
kill
LEDs?
me. But like, that was because I got into anime and I was, Code Geass was like full goddamn colors. And then I went to this, I was like, oh, this is a lot different.
Why are the chins so round?
Oh, they're talking a lot.
Yeah, like
that's
a
a
lot of
lot.
talking.
That's not
And it's
a lot.
not in the cool way with the fucking. When is that happening? It's like this. All right, what's
All
the
right,
next one?
next one.
Well,
Death
no,
Note.
No.
I mean,
No.
For one, the ending is slightly different, right?
It is factually correct that the second half of Death Note is weaker than the first half.
I think it's a good ending.
No, I think it's a good ending, but it could have been 10 times better if fucking Nier didn't exist.
Yeah,
The show is dog.
I know. I agree that the second half was weaker. Not even the second half. The second, like the last third,
Yeah,
was weaker.
the I've watched Death Note quite a few times, and
yeah.
it is always just such a like slog and a different show.
Yeah.
After obviously the big thing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of sucks.
But I think the ending of Death Note did what it needed to. And I thought it was a good ending.
I thought it was
both the manga and the anime, because I've read both the manga and the anime. Both had different takes on the ending, and both did something different and
I did
something
slightly
interesting.
prefer the manga ending.
I knew you would, Joey.
I just think it's a better rounded and better presented ending than the
I
anime.
think the anime is more cinematic, which is why I kind of prefer the anime ending. Yeah, I loved the scene where he ran past his like younger self with the Death Note. I was just like, that was just like, oh, that's an anime original. And I was like, oh, that's actually really well done. I kind of like love the visuals of that. But that's just my opinion, bro. Yeah.
Scroll down.
It's all good.
All right.
Yeah. Sure.
Ass Class.
Ass Class, okay, I like the ending to this.
I didn't finish this show, so I can't.
When he does the final roll call, not gonna lie, kind of teared up.
Okay.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
It was a feel good show.
It was.
Yeah,
It was.
I couldn't
I
get
think it
into
was a way better ending than what the show was expecting you to have.
Yeah.
or expecting you to see.
Okay.
So I think this is underrated.
All right. Cowboy Bebop, of course.
obviously.
Iconic, yeah.
Goes
Yeah. Next one.
Fuck off. Scroll.
Dragon Ball Z. I mean, if we're not including GT, I guess, but
Yeah, we can just keep going. Let's keep going. We got nothing else
there's
to say.
better ones.
Gintama.
Gintama. I haven't finished Gintama yet.
All right, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Okay,
Probably,
and then
yeah.
another one's going to be
Okay.
Goku.
And
Yeah,
Code
okay.
Geass,
Okay,
okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we were right for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think endings matter that much. I think as long as you do a whatever ending, you'll be fine.
After all of that, whatever, that don't matter.
Think about a lot of the shows you like. You remember core
Okay.
middle bits and the feelings you had. You don't necessarily
Okay.
think of the
No,
plot.
I'm not saying the ending is everything, but I think it is an important part of a story that shouldn't be overlooked.
Well, yeah, that's like saying that the start is important.
I-
Every
I-
part of the story is important. But
I have something more to add to this.
okay, go on.
Because I have just been playing Cyberpunk recently. I played the new expansion, which I think is the best kind of like Cyberpunk's like thing that has been released so far. And I kind of realized that I think I hate multiple ending games. Like, you know what I mean?
Me too.
I actually kind of despise it. And-
Because the true ending is always a lot of bullshit you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to look up a guide on how to get it, and you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Why is the ending the always the good endings, the ones
Yeah.
you have to go through all the complicated bullshit for?
Yeah, because like I remember playing through the original Cyberpunk, and the ending to me was super unsatisfying. And I kind of realized that it's just because I made all of like the worst choices
Yeah, me too. I got
possible.
Shit.
I got like the shit ending.
I did not like my
And
ending.
like to me, like even like the fact of the existence of multiple endings like demerits the impact of having like one singular ending, right? Because you can have like, I guess like a canon ending, a true ending, but just the fact that the user or like the viewer can choose their own ending, I think that detracts from the impact of just there being one ending. Did you get what I mean?
I do agree, but then oh man, I really like the Fear and Hunger has multiple endings. I think it's really cool.
Really?
Yeah, I really
You're
like
just a
the way-
fear and hunger sim. Let's be real.
But I really like how they use the multiple endings in that game, but I hated it in Cyberpunk. Okay, actually, can I preface? The thing that I hate the most is when you can't do any choices that affect the ending until literally like the last moment, where it's
Yeah.
like there's so many little things you can do in like the very last
Yeah.
segment, because then it feels like a cop out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you didn't plan for multiple endings. We just got to this one point and you felt like we can add a bunch of depth if in the last 2 hours of the game.
In
we
that
can do
vein,
it.
then I think a game that does that whole multiple ending thing really well is Catherine, because the thing with Catherine to get the multiple endings, it's literally from the very first choice
Yeah.
you can make in the game, and everything up until the end matters.
Yeah, and I like how like Undertale does it.
Yeah,
like I know it's
totally.
like a meme, but Undertale did it in a really good way.
No,
where
I
are
agree.
immediately from the get go seeing
Right. Yeah.
different character interactions based on what you're doing
Yeah.
and locking you into
The
a
worst multiple endings are the ones where it's literally the last
Yeah,
dialogue
which is-
option
which
where
is-
it's like yes or no, two different endings.
Well, there's like Cyberpunk. A lot of not all the endings, but a lot of them are what you answer in the last few moments.
right.
Yeah,
Well, it depends where you are.
there are like so many different endings to Cyberpunk though.
Yeah, and I know there's a few ways. If you do all the certain side quests, you get the true ending, which is how it always is. But then I know there's like when you can go to space or you can shoot yourself. Or you can do a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, man, I felt like I've been locked out of the good ending. Yeah. And all of these are not fun.
Yeah.
But I would have enjoyed it more if I was put on a clear path that is showing me that I'm going towards something different from the start.
Yeah.
Not kind of figuring out as I go.
Because like I remember playing through the expansion and I was just like, this is actually the Cyberpunk that I thought I was going to get from the original game.
Nice.
Highly fucking recommended, by the way. Because it's fucking incredible how much they've changed from the first initial release. And obviously Idris Elba fucking kills it in this role as well.
Idris
Oh my god, he's fucking great. But I got to the ending and it was like the way they closed out the ending that I got was so perfect to how like they built up the characters and kind of like metaphorically sent off all the characters. I was like, this is fucking great. And then I read up on the other endings and I was just like, man, if I got any of these other endings with like some of the major choices that I made, I would have been like, shit.
Right. I mean, I remember because the final big fight in that game, at least the base game, I remember when I played it, it was so buggy. Yeah. So I remember thinking like, this was the epic final boss and he's stuck behind a wall and, I'm shooting him with a pistol. And I'm like, man, this is just not how I envisioned this epic.
Glad I sunk the time into this.
Yeah. It's just, man, it was a bit sad. Maybe I should go back and check it out.
Yeah. And I just think for something very story driven, I guess, like Cyberpunk, it almost like I said, detracts from the impact of the ending, knowing that, hey, if you're not happy with this one, just go a different route. Yeah. Whereas, you look at like other games, like for example, like Last of Us or, God of War recently for me, those endings like stuck with me because that was the ending. Yeah. The send off to the characters. No redos, no other happy endings, no other sad endings. That was the ending that we got. Right. And that was what made those endings stuck out to me, So
I think it's a better way, but I guess you have to.
Why do you like the Fear and Hunger endings then?
I like it because you have to the character specific. So there's 4 playable characters and they all have their own version, which I like because it utilizes their story to tell, not just a backstory. Here's your character, figure it out. It's like, hey, your character, based off what we've told you, has this mission. Yeah. If you go and complete that mission, you'll get a unique ending, which I really like because it's setting the goals right from the get-go, saying this is what you need to do. Right. And it's up to you if you want to listen to that. Whereas I felt that like Cyberpunk, it's like, whatever Keanu Reeves tells you to do, just do it. Yeah. And then you'll figure it out. It's like, okay. I don't know. But I haven't played the DLC, and also I haven't played it since when it came out, basically. So I don't know. It could be a completely different experience. Right. Presumably it is. Yeah. Okay, first of all, did you see you guys know I'm a Robert Pattinson simp. Did you see he's voicing in the new Hayao Miyazaki movie?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you hear him? He sounds insane
in the dub.
Yeah,
yeah, he sounds insane. He doesn't sound like Rob Pattinson at all.
He does not. It's insane.
Bro popped off. I just want to say it because I watched this movie in Japanese. Yeah. And I heard his voice, and I was shocked at how good Rob Pattinson got close to the Japanese voice.
Okay, let's see.
Robert Pattinson, the boy in the
That's
heron.
actually kind of... Yo, Willem Dafoe's in it?
Yeah, Willem Dafoe's
Let's
in it.
go!
It feels like
I'm actually watching now.
Yeah, I might watch it.
Yeah.
I the movie actually... Because I think when I came on the show, after I watched this, I said it was all right. But I think actually the more I've sat on it, the more it's grown on me.
Yeah?
I think I kind of like...
Oh, shit, I need to watch this.
It
When
definitely
did it
grew
come
on.
out? July.
Yeah, dude. You haven't watched it? I'm not sure if it's still in cinemas.
No, I was going to watch it, but...
Yeah, that's the one. Just whatever.
Yeah.
Maito! What exactly are you? Your mother. She's awaiting your rescue.
That's sick as fuck.
Good. I'm hyped for that. I just want to say that because I went to the... I go to the cinema all the time because I like watching movies. Mm-hmm. Even bad movies. I love watching bad movies too because that's how I have my, my kind of
you gotta appreciate
scale set.
You gotta watch the bad to appreciate the good.
Yeah. So I watched 2 films recently. I watched the Martin Scorsese film.
I really want to watch that.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah, and it's so long.
It's 3.5 hours, right?
No, it's like 3 hours and 40 something.
Oh, okay.
So I'm rounding up.
That's what The Irishman was as well.
Dude.
The Irishman was like 3 hours 50 or something.
Dude, it's so long. It was so long.
Is it worth it?
I think so. Dude, it's one of those movies that when you come out of it,
Every Scorsese film review. It's so damn long, but it's pretty good.
no, you kind of leave it, and I was just glad it was over.
Yeah.
Like this happens with movies sometimes that even if it's a really good movie, the moment you go to check your like watch or you go to get some kind of time indication to be like, how long have I been here for? Where you're like, I'm getting the feeling I want this to end.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt that way about two-ish hours in. I was like, okay.
What's
It just
called
takes
again?
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Years of the Flower Moon.
I mean, I won't spoil anything, but I actually think for once in a Martin Scorsese film, I didn't really like Leonardo DiCaprio much in it. And also, I was kind of like, man, I think he's like the weakest part of this film in a weird way.
Oh, okay.
I mean, of course, De Niro is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, De Niro's great in it. De Niro's
Fraser's
just De
in it?
Niro. Yeah, Brendan Fraser is really fucking weird in this film. It feels like he misunderstood the mission.
Yeah.
It felt like everyone is playing a character and he kind of comes in playing a different time. It was very odd.
Right.
I love that guy. Dude, whenever he's in that Jesse Plemons guy,
Yeah.
Tom White. Oh, that's his
Yeah.
name. Whenever he's in a movie, it's true. I've seen this on Twitter. People meme it. Whenever he's in something, you know it's gonna be a banger.
Really?
He's such a terrifying actor. Whenever he's in something, he's always really scary. Anyway, yeah, it's a little long. I also when the reviews came out for it, I saw the reviews and everyone was saying that the main female lead was really good, and I thought she wasn't very good at all.
Yeah.
I feel bad saying that, but I felt like there was like no emotion. It's just a lot. You'll see what I mean. You're sitting there and it's just so long. And for a good period of time, the same kind of thing just keeps happening. And you're like, okay, I get it. I get it.
The feature review is, will someone tell Marty he needs to edit his movies down?
I genuinely think, right, if this was a 2 hour, 50-minute film, it would have been great. Like, I think
That's how I felt about The Irishman as well. I was like, this could have been under 3 hours easily.
I know he loves to do this.
It was
thing.
a great movie, but it was too long.
He loves to do that thing where he lets dialogue scenes really stretch. And I think sometimes it really works. And other times it's like, hey, I know this worked in another film, but I do not care. Cut this down.
I mean, it worked in Taxi Driver, so he was like, I'm just going to keep doing
Yeah.
this.
I just think it was too long. I think if I had to rate it out of 10, I'd give it like I feel like it's such a cop-out saying 7, but I don't have any strong feelings on either side. Like, I cannot sit here in good faith and say it's a bad film, but I can't sit here and be like, it's a fucking banger.
It's a 7. That's a 7. That's a pure 7 out of 10.
And then I watched this fucking awful movie called
Five Nights at Freddy's.
I did watch that too. Fucking dog shit movie. Awful movie.
You have to tell me
I don't
about
know
that.
any of the lore of FNAF, right? So I go into this film. The only thing I've watched is like a Matt Pat film.
I heard Matt Pat's in it as well.
Yeah, the only thing I heard is that he says that's just a theory in the movie.
So I watched it the day it came out, right?
Yeah.
You should have seen my soy jacked face when I'm sitting there, and then fucking Matt Pat turns around. And I was like, oh! I was like, what? And then he goes, it's just a theory. And I was like, ain't no way they got him to say it.
You know, Scott Cawthon just jacked off to that scene. He's like, I finally made him say it. Oh!
And the rest of the film was so bad. It was so bad. It was one of the most fucking boring films I've watched in so long. And I think
It's
the
an
only
hour and 50?
yeah.
It's 5.5 on IMDb.
And I think
wow.
the only people who are rating this highly are people who love FNAF lore.
What's the Rotten Tomatoes score on this? I want to see
go to
or like the
Rotten Tomatoes.
Metacritic score.
Dude, it's
I want to see what like the
it is being, and I think
29%.
This is actual bullshit, but like viewers, you know how they love the fucking critics say it's shit. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, because it is shit. Look at this. This is
Tomato
wrong.
meter 29%, audience score 88%.
Listen, I'm happy. I am happy to clown on critics. Like when they.
This is why the Crunchyroll Awards will never work, man. You give an audience voting power, and this is the shit.
Like I actually think, like when the critics, they generally had lower critical reception for like films like the Mario movie.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like that was unfair, but also there was like a mad conspiracy going on. Actually, did you hear about this?
What?
A lot of people were speculating that for some reason, and I think this is bullshit. So this is a disclaimer, bullshit. People were saying that people were paying for bad reviews. That someone was one of the advertising firms are doing it so that it can be like a
look at the fucking critics. They don't fucking know shit. Look at us. We're the fans. We know what we want. You know what I mean?
But that's just a theory.
That's just a theory. Because, you know, there's been this giant trend lately where people will see a movie that has fan ratings, high fan ratings, and low critical ratings as like a badge of honor. It's like, look at the fucking critics getting another L.
They don't know shit.
They are so out of touch with what the people want. But this one actually, fuck the viewers, dude. The critics are so right. This film is actually garbage. And the reason why it has high views, high ratings is because there's fans of FNAF that are just fucking getting hyped about it.
Yeah.
Because a movie's being made about FNAF. And there's loads of FNAF lore that's dog shit.
And also, you know, their favorite
right?
YouTubers are probably in it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people, you know, a lot of the audience this is targeting, you know, because FNAF's been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, they're all young adults now, or getting to that
Can I
age.
see what the difference in the Mario movie was? Because I'm
what's
interested.
the Mario movie?
Because that's my barometer.
I think it's gotten a little better now, but I distinctly remember when it was out, it was just under 50%. Yeah, see, look at this.
59% tomato meter, 95% audience.
That's something that I can kind of relate to because I genuinely went into the Mario Bros movie and I'm like, this completely met my expectations of everything I expected from a Mario Bros movie.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was a fun movie.
Would I rate it highly as a movie if I went to do it with a critical mind? No. But I was just like, am I watching this to see a Martin Scorsese 3.5 hours piece of cinema?
Fucking Mario just sitting around, just talking with Luigi for 15 minutes extended dialogue
Let's
scenes.
break down the character dynamic between Mario and Peach.
Listen, you could give me 4 hours of Jack Black fucking around singing, and I'd probably watch that. Like, I would just do that. You know, like, to me, again, this has been like a trend that I really don't like, that they're just... A lot of movies are being galvanized by low critical reception.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, what were you expecting out of
Oh
the
no,
FNAF movie?
I was expecting nothing. I went into it entirely. I went into it expecting nothing, and I was like, maybe it'll be.
And I got nothing.
Well, maybe that was a problem,
Maybe,
right?
yeah, maybe I had to go in there knowing the entire fucking lore, because I saw on Twitter that people were being like, this reveal was crazy. And it turned out, right? This is going to show how I don't know shit. There are 2 fucking Freddy Fazbears, right? One is brown and one is slightly like yellow.
Oh, the golden Freddy?
Yeah, and I'm watching this film. I thought they were the same fucking dude because it looks like the same. Can we pull up the difference between these 2 fucking things? If you just type in like 2 Freddies. Dude, as a casual viewer of the thing, maybe images might come up better. Trying to decipher or like watching this and like knowing
look
the
up
difference.
Freddy versus Golden Freddy.
Yeah, maybe the FNAF. But I feel like you got to see it in the film version. Yeah. So.
Okay.
So in the movie, you know, he's kind of like a brown hint, and then the gold one is kind of like a brownish gold.
Right.
It doesn't help the majority of this game and the film are in the dark.
Yeah, and then but I guess this character has a blue eye, but I didn't know they were different. So I'm sitting here, and it's never explained. But then I go on Twitter, and everyone's like, dude, this was so raw, this reveal, it was crazy. And then I saw a quote retweet of someone else being like, and I felt very, very validated. So I was like, I didn't even know they were different. Because they go, if you don't know the lore, it's a pretty bad movie. Because so much of this is like reveals
it's just
that are
fan
like
service, right?
Yeah, fan service.
Totally.
And it was just shit. It was so shit. And it was like baby's first horror movie. It was horror for kids, which I first of all, I'm a hater, right? I don't like this genre of horror that is like horror for kids. I'm like, that takes away.
What other genres? I mean, what other films are in that
Well, it's just
genre?
all the new video games that are all like kindergarten thing, but scary, and it's all
Like
like
Baldi's Basics and
yeah,
shit like
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's all this, but this film was genuinely a horror film for kids. It was a scary film.
It's like kids
for
hate loud noises suddenly.
and I felt like, man, this takes away every aspect of what I think makes horror good. Is that raw kind of human uncomfortableness, and now we're just doing loud bear, animatronic.
I mean,
it's very weird.
I mean, everyone was in high school once, right? Just
hey man,
Yeah, but I love shit like
back when I was 14, I thought Slender Man was the GOAT, you know. And now I think back to it, I'm like, that shit ass.
don't fucking lie. If there
Point-
was a
point-
Slender
point
Man,
being.
if there's a Slender Man,
There is a
movie,
Slender. Of course, there's a Slender
Point
Man.
being, this was dog shit movie, and
Yeah.
the fact that the fans think this is good and it's rated highly is actually a joke and makes fans look like they don't know anything about movies.
Let's see the Slender.
Oh, Slender Man was awful.
Slender Man was
Slender
shit.
Man.
I actually watched this one.
Oh, not even the memes could save it. Not even the memes.
Not even the audience like that.
8% versus 16% audience score.
God damn.
That's the amount of IQ points you'll lose,
Yeah.
actually. 16%.
That's the average age, actually, that you need to be to watch that.
I also went to the cinema and I watched a movie called Hypnotic, starring Ben Affleck.
oh.
And
Was it good?
holy fuck, was it bad? Holy shit!
Okay.
The only thing I can compliment this movie is that it was short, so I was out.
Was it actually short, or was it short compared to the Scorsese film?
It was an hour and 40, which I feel like is like short nowadays. 'Cause
Yeah.
every film is fucking 2.5 hours,
That
and
is
I
true.
hate this trend.
That's true.
And in Japan, it was called Domino. Domino. So I'm watching this film. It's called Domino in Japan, and then like the fucking credits start. And it goes Hypnotic, like boom, and I'm like, wait, isn't this Domino here? Like, anyway. So the premise of this film is that there are these people who exist who can just hypnotize people on command. So they
Right.
can be like, gone.
Okay.
That just sounds like a hentai plot.
Yeah. It's literally like a mind break. They'll be like, gone, come. And then you'll
Yeah.
just come.
Yeah.
Or like,
That is literally like 90% of mind break hentai.
there's like this scene in the film where he's like, I guess he's like, hey, you should shoot yourself. And then he just shoots himself. And you're like, okay, I think I get this. I think I get it. And then there's this whole
Lieutenant God
like,
could never.
yeah, right. And then the whole, oh God. And they have like these mind battles and I fucking lost it. They have these mind battles and it's just, they just camera zooms in on their faces and it keeps cutting between them going like, where they're trying to like influence each other's minds. And it's just a shit story. It was so boring. And there was like a whole bunch of,
It's like watching a stand fight without being
it was
a stand fight.
kind of like, now more I think about it, what was I think is it Martin Scorsese? No, Christopher Nolan film with the dreams.
Inception.
Like imagine Baby's Inception. Like they had a kind of similar thing where it's like, but it was all a hypnotized dream. And it goes on. You're like, okay, all right, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, this looks shit.
Yeah.
This is what happens when a less talented director tries to make a Christopher Nolan film. Is
That's literally
yeah,
what.
actually, yeah, that's my feeling. It literally
Yeah.
felt like if you had taken Inception and you were like, how do I make this dumber and less cool?
Yeah.
And Ben Affleck in the film, I thought was, I swear, Ben Affleck sometimes just doesn't act. He sometimes just doesn't. I feel like he just sometimes just turns up and he's like, I'll do it.
I think sometimes he's not even aware he's being filmed.
But he's actually like a decent actor. I feel like
Yeah.
Ben Affleck can be
Yeah.
good when he wants to be, but sometimes he just shows up and he knows the movie's not going to do well. So he
Yeah.
just kind of was like, yeah.
Just
okay.
half-asses it.
Yeah, it's whatever.
For sure.
So it was I left the film feeling like, fuck, I kind of wish I didn't watch it. But also, I like watching those films. So I like having shit to say about shit
Yeah.
films. Don't watch it, is my recommendation.
Yeah, it really makes hour and a half look like a TikTok, you know, like compared to like the fucking 3 hours 40 of the Scorsese film.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was too long.
Yeah.
I also had a bad seat as well. So I was kind of like this. the whole
Oh
time.
shit.
Yeah.
I was literally that meme of Willem Dafoe. It was yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Damn.
I mean, speaking of stuff that we've kind of done and watched recently, finally finished my first Final Fantasy game.
Oh, which one?
Yeah, 16.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Nice.
when I was just like, I gave up. I don't know if I need to finish this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I should finish a Final Fantasy
How did
game.
you feel?
How was it?
Can confirm. I was like, I don't think I needed to finish it.
Oh no.
Yeah, the ending was all right.
It was just like everything that I thought was going to happen happened, and I was just playing it to literally like see the climax and the characters like closed off, and I was like,
I think we can agree though, right, that Gav is the best character.
Gav is fucking goated.
Gav
man.
is
The one who sounds like, all right, mate, I'll do it.
No, that's
That's
Sid.
Sid.
Oh,
That's
Sid's-
Sid.
yeah.
Sid,
He's-
Sid is all.
He's
Sid's
also
voice.
goated, but
Sid
like
is
by
also-
the end, Gav is goated. Like he's one of those characters at first you're just like, I don't really care about you.
He's like, all right, mate, how's it going?
how's it going? You going off on an adventure? I like Sid. Sid was cool.
I mean, like the fight. Yeah, with 16, the fights were like cinematically incredible. Like they looked absolutely gorgeous. But
Yeah.
just some of the characters, like Jill was the most boring fucking character I've ever seen in a Final Fantasy game. She was so boring.
I think my favorite experience with Final Fantasy, which has nothing to do with Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But just picture it. I'm just gonna say everything with the same amount of context that I got. Yeah. I'm just playing Final Fantasy. We've literally just finished talking about Final Fantasy on a Trash Taste recording.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, let's just play it a little bit more. Get a line message from Joey. And all I see is just out of context, oh, he gay. And I just burst out. I just burst out laughing.
Okay, so there's a scene. One of the characters, he's like the king of one of he's like the prince of one of the kingdoms. That he's like one of the boss fights basically. And you know, very progressive of Square Enix. He's a gay character, all right. But the way that they reveal that he is a gay character just comes so suddenly, where like you're kind of watching him talk and you're like, all right, yeah, he's just like a typical blonde-haired, blue-eyed prince.
Typical Final Fantasy
prince character, and then he just starts making out with his guard, and I'm just like, whoa! And I just texted Garnt in all caps, oh, he gay.
No, I got what he was, because I remember playing it with Sydney, like the first like beginning bit,
yeah,
and Sydney was like, he's definitely gay. And I was like, Sydney, we're like, this is the first scene. I was like, no, he's gay. And then afterwards, like I get the message from Joey being like, "Oh, he gay." so they obviously like they did the energy well, you know, to be like, "Oh, is it something they're gonna like kind of like tease? Is it gonna be the usual anime thing where it's just like, you know, are they best friends or are they like?" Is he European or is he gay? We'll never know. And they went full. Oh, he gay.
Does he know?
Yeah.
But I think 16 was just in the grander scheme of all the Final Fantasy games. I thought it was all right.
It epitomizes every reason why I very rarely finish a JRPG, where it's just you have this.
The ending is important.
Yeah, but the ending is normally a sum of its parts. You know, it's pretty.
I mean, it didn't do anything that surprised me, and a lot of the interesting and more climactic, kind of like interesting moments for me, came about 2/3 or like the last quarter of the way through the story, where I'm not going to spoil what my favorite parts of this game was, but there is a climactic moment and a climactic boss battle, and that I remember experiencing that, and I was like, this is where the game has peaked. Like in my mind, I was like, I can't see a moment that will eclipse the moment that this has just presented me. And I was just like, after that, I was kind of like, I kind of just feel like I'm just ticking off the boxes now.
Are you talking about the Bahamut fight?
Yes.
Yeah, that is easily the best part of that game.
Yeah, not just the fight itself, but just the lead up. The lead up to that fight, the moment, the payoff with all the characters as well.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right.
Yeah.
This
I agree with that.
Yeah,
that was definitely the peak of that game.
Yeah. I was like, this is fucking peak. Yeah. And then I was just like, everything else just feels like I'm just ticking off the boxes to make sure they close it off.
And then it continued for another 20 hours, you know, and just kind of fizzled out. So yeah, that was unfortunate. There's more. Oh fuck. All right.
There was also a scene on the beach where I was just like,
I agree. That was also peak.
What is the scene?
It's the scene basically where, spoilers for 16, it's basically the scene where Clive, our main character, and Jill, the main love interest, they finally kiss, right? And it's,
but to give context, they're naked on this beach for about a full 5 minutes, and
naked?
I'm just like...
Because they just are.
I can't remember the context, but I remember them being naked. And like Jill talking about her fucking motivations and being like, good, like, I'll be with you to the end, Clive. And I'm just like, just fucking do it already.
Just fuck right now.
Just do it. Just do it. Just stop fucking teasing me.
Meanwhile, Clive is there just sitting there listening, bricked up to shit. It's just like, can you shut up? I really want to make out with you right now. Yeah, I remember when it finally happened. I like threw my controller. I was just like, "Oh, finally!
Oh, it happened!
Oh my
Thank God!"
Yeah, it didn't make the ending any better though. But
yeah,
it was. I thought it was an all right Final Fantasy game.
When you played 6, no 8, did you have that same feeling where you just like about like the last third, you're like, okay, I'm just like ticking off the boxes now?
I think 8 has a more interesting.
Yeah, I actually really like the ending to 8.
Oh, really?
I thought it was a really cool ending.
Okay.
The
it was almost in the middle where it kind of lost me. Oh, actually, the start. The start was actually. Often I find, the start of long JRPGs are the hardest to get into because like you, if you're a JRPG person, you're so willing to jump into that.
Yeah.
But if you're not, I feel like that is the first 20 hours is where you're just, I think that's crazy to say the first 20 hours. But like, that's where you're going to lose a lot of people because it's like that you have to really give this world a lot of like hope that it's going to pay off.
Do you think that's a valid argument for just any piece of media? It gets good after
no, fuck no.
X hours.
No. Bro,
Jojo be
Martin Scorsese has a 4-hour film and we're discussing whether that's too long. So go to someone and be like, hey, you know, it gets good 20 hours in. That's psychotic to say that. It shouldn't be like that.
Jojo be like
Jojo, I think Jojo's kind of, it's a tough one. It's really tough. And I think Jojo,
I know you don't want to admit it, but it's true.
Jojo's just kind of, the first part is the weakest and that's what makes it by far the hardest to get into.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, really.
It is the JRPG of anime.
It kind of is. And it's really bad because it's like, it's also hasn't quite found its like, I feel like it's kind of charm in season 1 yet. It's still trying to figure out how dumb to go with it.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. No, because I was thinking about this because I was like looking for another game to get into. And I was like, Starfield, I think maybe seems kind of up my alley. It's like sci-fi, and I was looking up like reviews and stuff, and people like, there was like quite a few articles that were like, the first 12 hours were pretty like mediocre, but then it gets good.
That's fun.
And I'm like,
Yeah. That's a no from me, dog.
Yeah, that's a big.
That's a full-time job to start appreciating something.
Because I'm like in two minds about this, right? Because I do think that there is an argument to be made that it gets good after X hours. Is like a valid argument because there's just like a certain argument where there are some stories, like for example, One Piece, where the scale is so fucking grand that I think it takes this many manga chapters or this many volumes to get into like the world of One Piece. I honestly think that is justified just with the scale of the story being told in One Piece. And then there is other things where I think it's kind of like a Stockholm syndrome, where you're in this game or you're in this like story for so long that you're like, yeah, I think it's good, but that's because I spent this many hours playing it.
Would you say then that like say JoJo fits into the One Piece side of the mold or the other side? Because it's kind of in the middle, in my opinion. It's a bit of both. It's like, it's a very grandiose story. I mean, it's been going longer than One Piece, technically speaking.
Yeah.
But it's also like, it's also not as consistent as One Piece is as well. So it's like, it's hard to say. Because, a lot of people will say like, oh just don't worry. After part 1, it'll get it. Part 2 is good. Part 2 is good.
You know what?
But it's hard to get people into
that.
You
know what? I think it's the Stockholm syndrome. I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking why. Okay,
JoJo fans don't want to admit it.
I didn't even want to say like part 1 or whatever. I was thinking like part 3.
Part 3, yeah.
Where the reason I liked part 3 was just because I love the feeling of like just going on a trip with the boys.
Yeah.
Right. And I just remember thinking, man, this was really dragged out.
Yeah, I think part 3 was worse than part 1.
Yeah. But holy shit, like, did I value my time with the boys just because I was forced to sit down and see the entire journey?
Because you knew
so many episodes.
that if you got through that, then part 4 and 5 would be next, which should just go to.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll just stick through it because I know I'm going to get to the good stuff.
I don't think I would have. I just happened to have it. I happened to be able to watch it. I had no internet.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only reason I watched it is because I just happened to. I was the only thing I could watch.
To do. Yeah.
And because season 3 was so long.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could go back and rewatch it. I just go back and rewatch the last 5 episodes. I'm like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely very, very tough to get into it.
For sure.
Oh, JoJo fans.
Sorry, JoJo fans.
Sorry, JoJo fans.
I do love it though, obviously.
Yeah.
But it is just so hard to get people to watch it.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to justify. Not that you should have to justify getting everyone into a certain show.
No, if you don't like JoJo, that's fine.
Yeah.
But hey, that's our opinions on anime. There's your anime episode quota.
This is the ending to this ending episode of Trash Taste.
Wow.
We talked about
Did
that.
this ending stick?
Yeah. Did we stick the landing for this ending?
Hey, let us know your thoughts and opinions opinions on anything we said, especially the Attack on Titan stuff.
If there's any like obvious endings, iconic that we missed off, please tell me.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, like I think like I would love to know what your iconic manga ending is, because I don't know why. It almost feels like with manga endings, I've stuck with it for so long that the ending just doesn't matter to me. And
Yeah. Me too.
I mean, I would say Poon Poon has an amazing ending, but I'm also biased on that.
Okay,
so.
I haven't read Poon
biased.
Poon.
Yeah,
You're
but
biased.
it is an amazing ending. But hey, let us know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Also, check out these patrons.
Ooh.
See, they stick around to the ending.
Yeah.
They stick around to the ending of every episode. And you can do the same by going over to our Patreon at patreon.com/trashtaste. Also follow us on Twitter, send us some memes on the subreddit, and if you hate our face, listen to us on Spotify. And we will see you guys in a probably non-anime related episode next.
All right, guys.
Bye.